we go. Hey everybody, this is Scott Hudspeth with Agent Mastermind. So excited to have you guys here. I'm here with my dear friend, and man, dude, you are crushing it. His name's Brian Casella, and been in the business for 3 years. Last year, 2015, closed 39 units for a GCI of 450,000. Unbelievable, dude. So you're going to share with us today door knocking, scripts, mindset, which is like the biggest thing I think everybody struggles with, and then more importantly, your YouTube success that you're having, going from 6,000 viewers up to almost 13,000. I'm looking at it right now. We'll probably be over 13 before we end this class. So, man, dude, thanks so much for taking time out of your day. I know you're in California, beautiful day over there, 9 p.m. your time. So if you're on this call, that's where he's at, and I'm here in Kalamazoo. So appreciate you being here. Brian, what do you got for us, man?
Well, first of all, thank you, Scott. Excited to be here. Appreciate the introduction. Really cool guy. So for everybody watching, Scott is the man. If you didn't know, now you know. Well, I mean, I have so much, man. You know, I was thinking about it last night when I was finalizing my notes, and I was like, wow, I want to jam-pack this, 45 minutes we have or hour with as much good information that people can use. So what I first wanted to touch on was what's going on between the ears. I mean, we discussed this before we went live. That's really the most important thing, because if you don't get your mind right, nothing else is really going to fall into place, or it's not going to have the power that it can possibly have, right? So we're going to focus mainly today on door knocking. However, I want everybody watching to keep in mind that these concepts apply to more than just door knocking. This is life. Everything is interrelated. Your mindset with your business is also going to go out to your relationships, to your family, to your other parts of your business, and to your life in general. Because I tell people, how you do anything is how you do everything, right?
Right on, man.
So we're focusing on door knocking, and I wanted to go over 3 or 4 things that I believe need to be brought up and eliminated immediately. Now, I know a lot of people, when they go to a door, or when they're thinking about, okay, I'm going to go door knocking, there's like a sense of neediness in them, and what other people will call that is commission breath, right? Oh, you're just doing it for a commission. That thought, that negative thought, needs to be extracted out of your mind immediately. You're not doing this out of need. You're doing this because you want to do it, and you're here to serve. The community needs you, okay? I'm going to flip the frame on you real quick. You're not going out there because you're a solicitor, you're a fast talker, you just want to get some business. You're out there to provide value, period, okay? Another thing I noticed is people walk up to a door almost with like a sense of apology, like, oh my God, I'm so sorry I'm knocking on your door. I don't want to bother you. Please talk to me, right? That, and the way I can relate that is, let's say you're going out, Scott, or anybody watching here, and you go out with some friends, and somebody approaches your group who kind of has that vibe where they're nervous. You feel it right away, and it immediately makes you want to repel them. Am I right, Scott?
Absolutely, man. And I think, just jumping back just a second, so I want everybody to get this, because I try to teach people this. When you're going in as a need, and you called it the commission breath. That's the first time I've ever heard that. So that's a great way to articulate that. You want something instead of you want to help somebody with something. So I wanted to make sure that everybody got that message. It's a really important message to get, because you are doing them a favor, and if you deep down know in your heart that you are doing them a favor, it's such an easier door knock to make and conversation to have.
Absolutely, yeah. So it's more of like, the thought is, how can I serve? It's not what can I get from this person, it's how can I help them? How can I serve them? I'm here to help. So you hit the nail on the head. So going back to what I was saying, you want to approach not with an apology, but with a, hey, I'm here to provide some valuable information and help. That frame alone will change your vibe, because when you knock on a door and somebody opens the door, one of the first things they're going to feel is your presence. And if you're grounded, you're certain, and you're here to help, that is a vibe, that is a frequency that you give off. That's why I can go out with another person who has never door knocked before. They can door knock. Somebody opens the door, they're a nervous wreck, and the homeowner is like, oh my God, they almost want to close the door. Then I can step in, and within that second, the homeowner just transforms. They step out, they're like, oh, hey, how can I help you? It wasn't because I said something special. It wasn't because of anything else. It's just because of my vibe, and I know I'm there to help and serve, and I know I'm not a nuisance. We have this thought in our head, especially as realtors or anybody in the sales industry, that we're a nuisance to people, and okay, well, I'm bugging somebody, but hey, I got to ask them for business. It's not like that. You're there to serve. If if you believe in your product or service, so for a realtor, if you believe that your service is good and you can help somebody sell their home or buy a home and you're the person for the job, your communication and your vibe and your presence and your physiology, which is your body language, has to exude that. You have to show up saying, hey, my name is Brian or my name is X. I'm here to help. What's up? And that vibe, that vibe will get people to be like, oh, okay, well, this guy obviously is sharp. I'm going to listen to him. Because I can't tell you how many times I walk up to a door and somebody will kind of open it and maybe be a little bit hesitant, of course, because you're a stranger at their door. But the minute I open my mouth and I'm so relaxed, I'm so calm, I'm giving value, which we'll go over here in a second as far as scripts and words, and immediately it's like you see a shift, and within a couple seconds they're opening the door all the way or they're stepping out and saying, oh, hey, what's up, Brian? Okay, nice to meet you. What's up?
So Brian, have you done any body language classes, or have you done anything like that? Because I don't know if you, I'm sure you know this because you brought it up. Body language is like 93% of your first presence. 7% is what you say.
Absolutely, yeah.
So body language is everything. So I think you hit on a huge piece. Whether you're going to a listing presentation, door knocking, cold calling, whatever you're doing, have you taken any classes on that or done anything with that?
Oh man, I've read books, gone to seminars. I've gone to Tony Robbins, Unleash the Power Within last October in LA. I paid $3,000 to be in the front 2 or 3 rows.
Okay.
And he talked a lot about body language too, and just his demeanor and his presence and his body language when he's speaking. Standing straight up, chest out, shoulders back. That's all very important. And what's funny is, actually, I don't know if I told you, I created a product that I sell on my website. I call it Door Knocking Mastery. But one of the main things that I cover in that product on the video side, live demonstrations, is body language and how important it is and how subtle shifts in your body language can mean the difference between repelling somebody or making them feel comfortable. You know what I mean?
I do, man. I do. And it's like you have what? I mean, you have 2.6 seconds to make that first impression. Something like, it's really quick.
Yeah, it might even be less than that.
So,
yeah, it's so important. Now, the last thing, we talked about the neediness or going up with a sense of apology as well. The last thing that we must handle mentally is the expectation, okay? We tend to almost expect, like, okay, I'm going to knock on this door. Yeah, you want them to be positive, and you want to expect them, of course, to be receptive and maybe be a lead for you. But at the end of the day, we cannot be attached to that. And I think that is a major mental block for a lot of people. It's like, okay, if I get this guy and he says no or rejects me, they're so attached to that outcome that they personally take it as like, oh man, he told me no, and then you start beating yourself up and you go in this downward spiral.
Yeah.
So yeah, when you go out there, you're not needy, you're confident, you're not apologizing for going up and knocking on somebody's door because you're good and you believe in your service, and there's no attachment to an expectation. Dude, this is when door knocking or prospecting or anything like that in general starts to become fun, because then you can turn it into almost a game, right? And that's what I would do. That's why this smile you see right here is the same smile I have when I go door knocking. I could have 3 people in a row slam the door in my face. I don't care. I'm on to the next one. Like, it's not that big of a deal. So, for example, I took one of my new guys out the other day, and I was telling him, I was like, you know what, dude? I hope we get somebody who's upset and who's, like, angry at us. Like, I really do. Because my mindset, like, when I'm going over here is, like, the complete opposite. I don't take it personal. I'm not apologizing for doing what I do because we're very good. We produce and we provide value for the community. And, the way I see it is, okay, if this guy slams the door in my face, he's probably a neighbor that nobody really likes. I'm going to see if, someone else wants to move out and get away from him. See, so it's just
that's hilarious.
Yeah, and it's just, and it boils down to the end of the day, we have control, ladies and gentlemen, of these things. You have control of your attitude when you go out there. You have control of not being attached to the outcome. You have control of being confident when you go up to the door. You have control of coming from a point of contribution and not just, hey, I want a listing. Would you agree with me, Scott?
100% agree, man. And I think so when you say you make it a game, do you have like a numbers game, or because I think that's really, really important to make it a game, because if you, Barbara Cochran said the difference between a $40,000 a year income earner real estate agent and a $4 million is how fast you recover from the no's. And so you don't even hear the no. You're like, oh, cool, man. I'm one closer to a yes. Is what I'm feeling that you see is
Yeah.
The more no's I get, the closer I am to a yes. So is it a numbers game? Is like when you're showing your guy, it's like, hey man, I hope it happens just so I can show him that nothing bad happens, right?
Right, right. And the funny thing is that proved to serve two things. One, the right mindset behind it, and also that he started seeing very quickly that most people, when you go out there, they're pretty receptive. I mean, you very rarely get somebody who's just off the wall, like slam the door in your face. And at the same time, it boils down to you taking it personally. Like, I don't know, Scott, if I knock on your door and let's say your mother just passed away, you're not going to want to talk to me, man.
Right,
like, you're going to be in a lower vibe, frequency, but I don't know that on the other side of the door knocking. So when I get maybe a negative reaction from you, why would I take it personal? You're not attacking me or upset with me. You're upset because your mother just passed away, and rightfully so, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that happens so much because we don't realize it as salespeople when we call or knock on somebody's door, we're entering their world for a minute or two. I'm stepping into Scott's reality and saying, hey, what's up, man? And if at that moment you're not in a good vibe, you might throw something negative at me, and I need to be prepared for it, but at the same time not take it personal. And I think that that's a huge step for people to really grow and then get out there, because people might do it for a day or two, they get a couple negative reactions, and then they see their motivation just drop.
So would you say that this is the same type of thing as calling expireds, calling FSBOs? Is it the same type of script? Are you using the same type of thing? Do you door knock to just anybody, any neighborhood, or you go specifically for expireds, FSBOs? What do you focus on when it comes to door knocking?
Well,
neighborhood, bigger, higher end areas, like.
Great question. Yeah, my script and approach will vary depending on the lead source that I am calling, but the mindset stays the same. You know, you are coming from a point of contribution. I'm not there to apologize, and everything we just covered still applies. I tend to focus on more than 2 or 3 things, because in my market, the expired and FSBO market, especially for new ones, is pretty limited. So if I was to just focus on that, I would run through all my leads very quickly. What I do is I do the expires and FSBOs early, like first thing, and then I do them again right before the day's over. So that's kind of like the beginning point and the ending point for me. And all in between is when we have more of what I would call the random doors. And I think that is a untapped resource by a lot of realtors, because you'd be surprised. Now, we all think, okay, you know, the internet, Zillow, everything, everybody knows about the market. Dude, I could go in my neighborhood right now and knock on 50 doors, and if I have 15 conversations, 10 of those 15 will have zero idea of the reality of the real estate market, and I would put my license on that.
I wouldn't disagree with you. No, that's true. True that.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I'm telling them, you know, because we can dive into the scripts a little bit now. One of my first opening lines when I approach somebody is I say, hey, I'm just here to give you a quick market update. Now, this is a random door. I'll say, did you know, Scott, that we've had, just in your area, we've had 63 homes sell in the last 30 days.
Awesome, man. Hey, I'm not thinking about selling, Brian, but
Of course, yeah. I just want to share the good news with you. And the even better part, Scott, is those 63, 40 of them actually sold at or above their asking price. Isn't that crazy?
So so you're talking about my neighborhood, Brian? That's probably what you hear. My neighborhood?
Yeah, it's probably within a 2 or 3 mile radius of you right here, right now.
So what are those things selling for? Like what are they, like when you say they sell at or above, like what does that mean? I don't know what that means.
Yeah, basically what that means, Scott, is right now, for every listing that is put on the market, there's probably 7, 8, 9, or 10 buyers for it. So what's happening is, let's say we put your home on the market today for $600,000, just to put a number. You're getting multiple offers, and you're selling it for $620, $630, $640, sometimes even as high as $650.
Got it.
Yeah, and then right there, I'll go into the script. But what I want to make the point of to people is that is value. I'm not asking for a listing. I'm not saying, hey, do you want to sell? I'm giving you some information, and at that point, I call it.
Your wheels start turning. Your wheels start turning, right? I'm thinking, okay, well, shoot, man, if I was thinking about selling, that means I can get out. If I want to get out of my house, I can get out right now. Like that's what I'm hearing, Brian. Like, man, if I did want to sell, it sounds like a great time to do it. But man, we're set. Like for now, we have 12 months down the road, I'm good.
Yeah, absolutely. And what I do is this will open up the conversation for you guys, because we forget that when you communicate with people, it's an exchange. If I give them a little bit of value and some good information, the likelihood of them continuing the interaction with me is going to be a lot higher. Like imagine if you just go door knock and you say, hey, my name is Brian. I'm with XYZ company. Are you thinking about selling your house?
No, I'm not. Yeah, right.
Yeah. Now, I myself, and I'm sure Scott, we're good enough now and well-versed enough that we can continue that conversation, of course. But the vibe of that conversation is going to be different than, hey, I'm just popping by giving a quick update. You know, we've had 53 homes sell here in the last 20 days. Did you know that? And people might be like, whoa, what the heck? Now, my continuing conversations after that are much better, and this is the setup for what I wanted to go over too, is we tend to focus, especially with door knocking, on we want business today. And what I've done with my team is when we get out there, we focus on getting people's contact information, cell phone, email, because this is what I do. Instead of farming, I'm going to these neighborhoods and getting cell phones and emails, and now I have a separate database of people that I've met door knocking that I'm calling on a regular basis, almost like a separate sphere of influence. And
so
I call it.
So how do you get their information? Like, so you had, hey, did you know that, I mean, do you start out with the excitement, like, hey, man, did you know that 50 homes have sold in this 2-mile radius, like, just like yours? And I just wanted to make sure you had that information. It's a really good time, and I don't know if you're thinking about selling, but I just wanted to give you the information. I've done some work for you. How do you transition into, give me your name and your email?
Yeah, you know, like we see most scripts out there, I'll ask them, you know, oh, cool, how long have you been in the neighborhood? You know, what brought you guys to this area? I might ask questions, a few open-ended questions like, well, what is 1 or 2 things about this neighborhood that you might change if you could? And they'll tell me, you know, oh, well, because that might open the door for where they would want to move next. But it's just the basic questions we see in most scripts. How long have you been here? What brought you to the area? If you guys were to move, where would you go? I use that as like a transition just to get a feel for them. And typically, right at the end, and I cover this in my product too, I ask people, look, like you said, you're going to move in a year. I said, look, Scott, in 12 months, when you make the move, do you have a great go-to agent? Most people will say no. They say, well, I know a guy, or no, I don't have a great go-to agent. I say, you know what? Perfect. I would love to be a great go-to agent. Why don't we do this? Why don't we just exchange information and stay in touch? Do you have a business? Do you have a business card? And I hand them my business card. Now, the cool thing is a lot of people run their business from their house nowadays. So when I hand them my business card, I would say 40, maybe even 50% are like, you know what, I have one in the house, let me go get it.
Oh, you ask them for a business card?
Yeah, I go, do you have a business card? And I hand them mine, and a lot of them will take it and say, you know what, yeah, I have one in the house, hold on.
Got it.
And they'll go get it. And everybody watching, what's on a business card? Everything.
Everything, yeah, everything. Yeah. Oh, their stuff, yeah, for sure.
Cell phone, email, their business address, you have their actual physical address, you're set. Now for the people who don't, I would say probably out of 10, 2 or 3 will say, you know what, I don't have it, just take my information or take my number. They'll volunteer themselves to give it, right? Because it goes back to what I told you, the exchange. I gave them something, my business card, they feel entitled to give me something back. If not, this is the quick little move that I kind of made up that works wonders. I say, you know what, no worries. Let me just text you my information so you have it handy. And I'll pull out my phone.
Oh, that's crazy, dude. And you got their number.
Yeah, I pull out my phone, and I say, okay, cool. And I know the areas that I work in, so I tend to know the area code. So what I'll do is I'll start the number. So in my area, it's 626. I'm like, so it's 626. It's almost assumptive.
Yeah, that's great.
Great. And 9 out of 10 times, they'll be like, oh, no, it's 714-555. Or they'll say, oh, okay, it's 626-333-5567. They finish it for me. And I say, look, I'm just gonna text you my info so you have it, not going to spam you. And then I might go into it like, you know what, I do a monthly market update, whatever it is that you want to say. The whole point is to capture that information. And my new guy, I role-played that with him so much, and now, like, every day, he's like, dude, I got 3, 4 people's contact information, 5, 2, 6. And this kid has been licensed for a month. Like, he is by no means a guru or a whiz with the words. He's still kind of shaky, if you know what I mean, and he's still getting people's contact information because of that concept of exchange. It's so simple. But, like, let's say me and you went out, Scott, for a year to door knock. I'm getting people's information, and you're not. Maybe you get 4 or 5 listings from it. I'll get the 4 or 5 listings, plus now I have a database of 200 or 300 people that are constantly going to be feeding me business because they met you, they know you now, and they most likely like you and trust you if they give you their number, right?
Right on, right on. And some people are saying that we're frozen, but him and I, like, it's looking good to me. So I don't know if it's an internet connection. If you're not hearing anything, one of the things to do is call in. Call in. There's a number under the audio section. If you're listening through your computer audio, it's sometimes better to go to the phone call and call in. So that's just a suggestion there to help you out there. There is a question coming in. It says, while door knocking, Brian, do you hand out any report to them or any other thing that you hand, like, is there any handout of any kind?
There's two things I do. Typically now, most neighborhoods I hit, because I've been in the business a while now, I have listings. So I usually have a flyer on that listing, whether we sold it or just listed it. Now the cool thing on it is I have a service that I got that I can share with people later if they're interested. It is a texting service. So I have a small square that I put on the flyer. It says, for more information on this home or other available properties, text BC Homes or whatever your code is that you want to put to 955-955-77. And people can opt in. And guess what? Now I have their phone number and their information.
Got it. Got it. Very cool.
Another thing I do is I'll have maybe one sheet of a market update, which is the market update that I say, and I'll be, kind of showing people. I'm like, look, I actually have a printout of it right here. Now, some people will ask me, can I have that? And I say, you know what? This is the only one I have. I would love to email you a copy.
Perfect.
What's your best email? And then they'll give me their email. So you guys just want to be.
That's just one little change, man. If you got a handful of them, here you go. But if you're like, man, this is the only one I got, I'm more than happy to email it to you. Like, the chances of you getting an email is like, it goes through the roof.
Yeah, because it's value. Again, people will respond to value. If you provide value, they will respond. And I tell people it's the little tweaks like that. Like, what I say and tell my team is make it easy for them to give you their contact information. Don't make it hard. Make it easy. If you make it easy, people will go with it. And that goes back to a lot of stuff that I was saying. You're coming from a point of contribution. I'm not apologizing for it. I believe in my product or service. All that will permeate through. And then you put in the right steps with the right mindset behind it, and boom, you get results.
What if you door knock? So Sally, thanks for being here. And Sally says, well, will you leave anything behind if nobody's there on like when you knock?
Yeah, the listing flyer, yes, I'll leave behind. And if not, at the very least, I leave a business card. A lot of people will kind of say, well, you're kind of littering. I've had people call me back off leaving a business card, and I've listed their house. So if you're gonna make the effort of going, leave something.
Yeah, and just to clarify, James is like, so you don't just do expireds and FSBOs. You do neighborhoods, 50 houses, 100 homes, 200 homes. You just bust through the neighborhood.
Right, yeah, because like I said, the expired and FSBO market for us is not as potent or as rich as it is in some other areas of the country. So if I only went off that, I would say probably 35% of our business is FSBOs and expireds, like 1 out of 3. So I would be doing, 13 deals a year. I'd be doing 1 deal a month. Now our price point's good. Most of my average price point is probably around like $600 or $700 this year. So obviously the commissions are bigger, but that's definitely not my main focus. And the other way, and the mindset behind it, which we're covering now, is I want to build something where in 5-10 years from now, I don't have to door knock every single day to get business. Now, by me creating this list, in 2 or 3 years, I've already compiled from door knocking. I think I have like 400 or 500 people's contact information, like cell phones, emails, and these are people that know me. It's not like I'm going to call 450 of them. We're like, oh, hey, Brian. Every single person there would say, hey, Brian, or oh, yeah, what's up, Brian? Like, they know me.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Or a team member of mine who I've taught, So we're all making these lists, and
that's cool.
To me, that is more efficient than me having to go back to the same neighborhood once a month to knock so they remember me. I'd rather get their information, because we all know that in every neighborhood you knock, especially if you do random doors, there's that one guy every block that's like a neighborhood watch that knows everybody and talks to everybody.
Absolutely.
Right. Absolutely, and I'm getting their numbers. So when Sally across the street wants to sell, he's like, dude, especially if they like you already, like, Brian, you got to talk to Sally. I gave her your number. Go knock on her door. She's ready to sell.
Amazing. Suzanne's maybe Susan is asking, is there an optimum number of homes to like in a farming area? Like you pick, is there a certain number? Because that's where you're at. The population's huge, but you pick 100, 200, 300, 400. Like, what are you going for there when you do it?
Is this per session that I door knock, or is this like an area I would want to focus on?
Farming. I think he's talking about farming, like a farm area.
Okay, if you were to farm and go back regularly, I would suggest you pick a pretty big area. I would say minimum 5 to 10,000 homes, because if you limit yourself and for whatever reason for the next couple months there's not that many sales in that neighborhood, you just shot yourself in the foot.
Got it. That makes great sense. Hey Brian, so your new guy, I want to make sure everybody caught this. So Brian's got a new guy, less than a month in the business, knocking it out of the park with names, numbers, emails, door knocking, doing exactly what you're telling him. He's 1 month and he's getting 4 or 5 a day, like whatever. I just want to make sure everybody heard that. So this isn't like for experienced people that know the scripts and know the business and know, like, he doesn't know anything. So the cool part about that is, like, if you've never done this before, it's an amazing way. Dude, that gets me excited because I love the chase. I love the challenge. I love the chase. So I would have so much fun with it. I want to get into a little bit. I don't know I don't know where you wanted to go next, but I wanted to get into your passion, because I think that is a huge thing that I think a lot of people are missing out on. And this car that we are seeing on my screen here is Brian's car. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about that, and then go into the passion of how do you drive this car to the neighborhoods and have that around with you, or this is how do you transition people into your passion?
Cool, great question. The car over there in my background, for the people who aren't car people, it's a Nissan GTR. It's a car that was literally built by Nissan as their supercar and to outperform Lamborghinis, Ferraris, and a lot of these cars that we idolize, right? And I've had it for about a year. I mean, the thing is, like, hand-built engine in a separate facility by only 3 special engineers. I mean, the car itself is like an engineering feat. And I've always loved cars. Even when I was younger, I had a very big passion for cars. I just happened to have a taste in cars that was luxury, like 120, 150, 200, 300, 500,000. Like my next goal in about the next 7 to 8 months is I'm going to get a Lamborghini. And now it's a very, very near reality for me. So we were talking about it, me and Scott, and what I do, and this can fall into YouTube and some other things, is I look at the car, right? A lot of people are going to say, well, a car is a bad investment, or, you know, it's a depreciating asset, and I get it, right? Now, there's 2 things with this. Number one, I am very passionate about cars, and I do love cars. So one thing that I did with this passion was I tied it into door knocking, for example, and I said, okay, I have a passion for cars. All I need to do is connect the dots now. How can door knocking or this daily activity help me achieve the goal of getting this car? And that is something you guys need to do in your life. It might not be cars. It might be you know, a college fund for your kids. It might be getting a new house for your mother who never owned a house. Whatever it is, we call it your why, right? One of my whys is cars, and a lot of the things that I do are tied directly to being able to get the car. Now, when I bought the car, let's get something straight. I bought the car cash. You know, I have no loan. I've put money into the car in modifications, but I didn't save up $5,000 and then put it down on the car and finance, you know, 100% of it. But that was one thing that kept me going. I would have a picture of the car in my coat pocket when I was out door knocking. I was like, you know what?
I just got chills on that, man.
Yeah, it's like I can have this car. Like, if I just knock on, you know what? I'm gonna knock on 20 more doors. Let's go. And I put it back in my pocket. And I go and I hit 20 more doors. And guess what? That 11th door extra, boom! I get the lead that I needed. And I was like, yes. So it's a fuel and a means for you to get to your result.
Because your why. I mean, like you have a why, and I think that's what a lot of people are missing. Like, why do I do what I do? Why do I do anything? Why do I go to a listing appointment? Why do I talk to a buyer? Why do I drive a buyer around? Why do I get up in the morning? Why do I call an expired FSBO? Why do I knock on a door? And I think once you find that why, it makes it so much more fun and so much more easier, and the emotions go away because it's just about the car. That's it.
Absolutely, yeah. So every day, because, you know, we sold 2 houses this last week, I'm like, I'm one step closer to the Lambo. I'm one step closer to this. And it excites you. It keeps you going, because people forget that motivation is a temporary emotion, right? If there's no passion behind it, if there's nothing really driving you, and I'm sure you have read Think and Grow Rich, right, Scott?
Man, absolutely.
So you know, unless you have a burning desire for something, that flame isn't going to be lit. And for me, one of my few burning desires are these exotic and, you know, supercars. But for me, it's like it keeps me up at night. Like there's nights where I don't sleep because I'm envisioning driving a Lamborghini, and I'm like, dude, like me getting in the car, even the one I have now for the last year, every time I get in it and drive it, it's an experience in its own. The smile is on my face. I see all the activities I've done over the years. What blood, sweat, and tears have gone into getting this car and the house that I'm in and everything, and it's like, wow, and it really excites me. I'm like, dude, I've done this in a short time, dude. What am I capable of? And then, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. And, I urge everybody on this call to really tap into that, because we all on this call, whether you admit it or not or realize it or not, you all have like a passion or something that really moves you. A lot of times we just haven't, it's not that we haven't found it, it's just that we haven't tapped into it or brought it up to the conscious mind and said, okay, I'm doing this for my kids, right? And when you do that and then you tie it back to the daily activities like something like door knocking, you will see a tremendous shift, because it will go from, well, I don't feel like doing it, to, you know what, if I just do this for 2 hours a day, my kid is going to go to college for free.
Private college, whatever you want, whatever,
whatever, and when you connect those dots, it's a different game, and that's why you guys will look, everybody on this webinar, you will look at top producers and say, wow, how do they do it? Something simple like that is how they get up every single day, because just like you guys, I have days where I don't maybe feel as good, or I'm like, I don't feel like door knocking or making calls or whatever it is, but I still do it because the end result is so important to me. Any temporary discomfort or challenge is so minuscule in comparison to the goal that it's like, I want this so bad, I'm going to do it.
That's huge. So one of the things that you brought up before this call is involving your fans, I'll say, client database, path database, current database, whatever, into your passion. You have met other people that have car fetishes or passions or whys, so it's connected you to a listing that you would have never got without having this passion, which now is $120,000, $130,000 car. You're not buying a $120,000, $130,000 car unless you're making some money, right? Like, so if you're buying a $120,000 car, your house is $1 million, $2 million. Like, that's realistic, right? I mean, that's kind of, so you're hanging around other people. So you said before we got started that it's connected you with some listings that were insane. Like, the relationships of those people have been so gratifying, but now you have a connection because you guys sit around and talk cars. You don't talk about real estate. They just call you because they know you're going to take care of them. Right,
absolutely. And it's crazy because, like I was saying earlier, everyone will say, like, well, you just wasted your money with that car. So not only am I taking my passion and living it and enjoying it, but now I'm using it as a gateway into another world or group of people that now I'm one of their friends, one of their colleagues, but I just happen to be the one in the group who's a real estate expert. And, you're right. The talk is all about cars or what's the next car. But, when they need to buy a house, guess who's the go-to guy? Me. And I don't go there just for those relationships. I'm there because of the car, primarily. And a lot of these guys that I'm meeting have the next car that I want, and I'm, asking them questions and stuff about it. But at the same time, they look at me, because a lot of these guys are, a little bit older, 45, 50, 60, who have accumulated their wealth over a lifetime. And they're like, well, this young buck, he's 30. Like, how did you get this car? And it creates this, like, this dynamic. And for everybody watching, I've already gotten 3 sales this year just from the car community that total probably minimum in commissions half of what the car is worth, minimum.
To pay for itself. So you'll pay for it 1 year just by having the car, like having and being your passion. So you found your why, you've involved other people in your why, in your passion, and now it's just flourishing. Couple great questions. What city does Brian live in? What city do you market?
Roland Heights. It's just north of Brea and Fullerton, which are cities people might know in Orange County.
So I've never had this before, but David says, Brian, how many more listings are you looking for? Please contact me. So I won't say his number out loud, but I'll give you the number. So that's kind of funny that he's going there. You are, and then Tina says, you are the medicine every business person needs. What you do goes beyond realtors to every business. Thanks for the great information. So, yeah.
You're welcome. And like we said, Scott, like I said in the very beginning, this is stuff that permeates everything. This isn't just door knocking or real estate. This is, these are universal principles that, people must implement, like connecting the dots. It doesn't matter if you're in real estate or you sell cars or you work at the shop at the corner. connect the dots to what you're doing daily to achieve what you want. It's a basic science, and a lot of this stuff I got from Tony Robbins and some other guys, but I started approaching everything in life, whether it was door knocking or learning about the mind or these type of things from a student standpoint and saying, okay, these are all principles, like models, these systems that business people like yourself, you have systems, and I'm sure you modeled after somebody else and you had similar success. These are all things that can be learned, understood, and then mastered, because, I mean, people have blazed a trail before us. We're not doing anything new here. There's been people who have gotten into real estate new that have gone from nothing to selling over 1,000 homes a year. All I need to do is look at them, learn what they do, and then apply it. It's that simple.
Yeah, it's funny, like the reason we're on the phone is because of my passion to help other people and the passion to bring what, successful people like yourself are doing. So it's just that's when you talk about your why and your passion, dude, it just gives me chills, because I can't tell you how powerful it is when you find that, and it's tough to find. Sometimes you got to reach deep and you got to think about it. Like your challenge is, like, right now your why is the Lamborghini, but after you get the Lamborghini, then you're like, holy crap, man, why am I getting up now? Because you got to go find another one. And so we all have goals, dreams, and desires, but once we hit those goals, like you got to think big, man, because you're going to have the Lamborghini if you keep doing what you're doing in a very short period of time. Then it's like, what do I do now? Because like life, gives us more and more and more all the time. So what is the let's see, Jason says, how much time did it take? Okay, here's a great question. How much time did it take you to build an increased following on YouTube? Let's talk about YouTube, because, guys, if you're not following Brian on YouTube, I would highly recommend it. If you go to his channel, it's Brian Argentina. So youtube.com/user. Just Google Brian Casella on YouTube, and it's the first one that comes up. He's went from 6,000 3 weeks ago to over almost 13,000 now. So just watch what he's doing. He's a YouTube sensation. I know that he gets business from it. Let's talk about that. Let's talk about YouTube for a second. What's your why behind YouTube? Why did you get up and go, I want to be, and you told me this story, and I don't want to, you said something to me, so I hope you remember what it was, but why YouTube?
Yeah, when I got into the business, the mid or end of 2013, I remember, I really had no support. Even my family was against me getting into real estate. It was one of those things where it was like, I have to believe in myself 100%. I can't allow any outside influence to affect my decision. And like we were talking about earlier before we started the webcast, one of the missing things when somebody goes after what they want or they go after the goal is you must make a 100% commitment and that decision that I'm going to see this through. No matter what external obstacles get in my way, I'm going to see this thing through until I achieve the goal. And I made that decision to my core and said, okay, even if everybody's against me, even if the path is tough, because I'd never done sales before, I didn't know anything, I didn't even own a suit, okay? I was like, I'm going to figure this thing out, I'm going to do it. I will make this happen. And I would tell everybody, I was like, mark my words, I'm going to be extremely successful in this business, and if you don't believe me, sit back and watch the show. Like, that was the kind of commitment that I made. I was like, I'm going to do it no matter what. And I, of course, I went through my trials and tribulations when I started, emotional up and downs, and I would start to go to YouTube, and I was like, man, there's nobody who's younger or newer in the business who's just cranking out stuff on YouTube that I can relate to, or that could help me guide me on the path to what it is we see as success, right? So I started making videos, and I did like my real estate story. I was like, hey, I'm new in real estate in Southern California. I still had my braces at the time, which was funny.
Oh, man.
And I started making the content, and wow, like I started getting like a following, like agents in Florida and New York and everywhere, and I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. And then I noticed that a lot of the comments and people following were people who were going through the exact same stages that I was of growth. And after a while, it became not just putting out content, but I was like, you know what? These videos serve a purpose. As people are going through the stages that I went through, they can now go online and relate to somebody who maybe was in their same position with no support, learning by the day. And I kind of got, I got like a really good sense of accomplishment from it. I was like, wow, I'm actually helping people here. And that really transitioned into me now, running a coaching program, a mastermind, and doing other things, because I realized that I do have a liking to teaching people and taking some of these skills and concepts and seeing other people use them and have success with it. So the whole consulting and coaching side of it has really come out, and I've really enjoyed it. And now this channel is just blown up because of the next thing. I always told Scott and everyone else, people feel like a need to wear different masks in different situations. Now with YouTube, one of the keys is you need to be very transparent. A lot of people are so scared to put their life out there, and I say why? You know, we all have skeletons in the closet. We all have issues and challenges. Yeah. Why mask it? You know, and so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start being completely transparent on my channel. And I think a couple weeks ago, 3 or 4 weeks ago, I made a video like how to own a supercar in your 20s, and it went viral. It has like 200,000 views now. And all I did was inject my passion now of cars, and then I started making a series, which is like up to part 6 or 7 now of, okay, if you want a supercar, this is the step-by-step process, whether you do real estate or not, how to get there. And now my channel has doubled in a matter of weeks, 3-4 weeks, because I said, okay, I'm not going to just do real estate anymore, because that's a part of me, absolutely, but it's not my identity. Right. I'm going to start introducing, you know, daily blogs or things that are personal to me that an audience can connect with, and then in the process, if I help people, that's even better. And I think that's the missing link nowadays, is people want to be too PC, I guess you can say, or they want to hide things instead of just saying, hey, world, this is me, take it or leave it, because it boils down to what we were saying earlier. They're afraid of being rejected or judged. I don't care. I know that my brand and my message isn't for everybody, and I get negative comments all the time, but I don't care. I know it's a part of the process. Just like people are going to applaud for you, people are also going to be against you, and it's just the way it is. I don't take it personal.
Focus on your fans, man. Just because there's always going to be someone that hates people at the top. Like there's going to be people hate winners, they hate successful people. You know, there's always going to. It's just this is the way the world is. So,
but that's the thing. Transparency.
So if somebody was to start doing YouTube channel, and you know, they did a ton of Go Brian, love your positive attitude. I have to David. Let's see. You have a lot to offer, Brian. Thank you for sharing today. This was a great webinar. It's positive energy people are looking for. It's awesome. So if somebody, and we'll kind of end with this, and then if anybody has any questions for Brian, man, he's just an open book, as you can see. If somebody wanted to start, like if you, knowing what you know now, 3 years later into it, where would you, if you go back and go, all right, if I was to do this again, or if you were to drop me into a different city, a different state, what would you do first, man? Like for somebody that's just getting started, or somebody that's kind of stuck, maybe, man, Brian, you know, I love this business. I'm stuck, and I'm you know, doing one deal a month. I want to get to 2, 3, 4. Like, what would you say to that person?
Okay, and we're just talking real estate now, right?
Talking real estate, or you know, whatever you think to help that person listening. We got a bunch of people listening, so.
Perfect. Number one, find a mentor. When I started, I found a mentor, which is a pretty high-producing agent. He's still doing minimum. I mean, I think he's working part-time now. He's still doing 50, 60 deals a year, working part-time, like probably like 3 days a week. So the guy figured it out. So I said, okay, I'm going to find somebody who is having success. And what I did was, before I even got licensed, I apprenticed with him for free. I did work for him, and I learned from him for weeks and weeks and weeks. So if you were new, brought me into a new city, I immediately would find a mentor and give myself to them and say, okay, I want to learn everything that you know. I will work for you for free and do whatever it takes to learn from you, even if it's just for a week. Let me spend a couple days with you. Let me get into the day of a top producer. Let me learn from you, because I'm going to take those same principles and I'm going to apply them to what my business is going to be, right? So you can do that, which I highly recommend, because if you think about it, let's take any top performer in any category. Let's look at Kobe Bryant or Michael Jordan. Did they have coaches? Yes, more than one. Trainers, coaches. I know people that have speech coaches that don't even speak publicly, just to improve their communication skills. So this whole mentorship and coaching is something that has to go from infancy, you starting, all the way up to the highest levels, the mastery levels. Because even the masters, they themselves have coaches, right? I think it was, I'm not sure, you can correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, you might know. I think Harvey McKay, who runs, you know, his companies, I think he says he has like 18 coaches or something. Have you heard about that? Yeah. Yeah, and the guy's like a billionaire. I mean, just like huge, high-level influencer, but he still has 18 coaches, right?
So,
Yeah, so we always have to learn. And at the same time, one of the most basic datums and principles, let's say you you take me to Minneapolis and you say start a business, I'm going to have to create a plan and say, okay, I'm starting here. I'm at 0 deals, or I'm doing 1 a month right now. What is it going to take for me to get to the next level? So first, I want to write a plan for the next month, 6 months, year, 2 years, and say, okay, in the next 6 months, I want to go from 1 deal a month to 2 deals a month, or 3 deals, whatever it is that you decide. And then once you create that plan, now you have to take massive action and say, okay, I'm going to go from 1 deal a month to 2 deals a month the next 3 months. What is that going to require? Okay, well, right now, I'm making 10 contacts a day, and I'm getting 1 deal a month. Let's bump it up to 20 contacts a day and see where we go. And then you take it and you measure it, because what we track and measure improves. So it's simple, but it's not easy. It's going to require a lot of action from you. And then the mentorship. Dude, when I did the mentorship, there was days where I would spend 12, 13, 14 hours with the guy. I thought he was sick of me, but he was so eager to help me, because he's like, dude, this kid is hungry. He wants to learn. And I tell people, when you have that level of commitment to what it is that you want to do, somebody who will allow you to mentor with them will see themselves in you, because they were the exact same way when they started. And they will appreciate that. Yeah, and I get it now. Like, if I have somebody reach out to me now, if 20 people reach out to me, I know if one of them is very serious, and I can see it in him right away, and I'll invest more time and energy into that person, because I know he's going to do whatever it takes, versus the 19 other questions that are just whatever, you know?
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's probably the best I've heard to say is the mentorship and coaches have coaches. Everybody wants to know if this is being recorded. Yeah, it's being recorded. Get with your loan professional to get you a copy of this. A couple of questions here, Brian, if you don't mind.
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's see. So, Brian, could you walk through your prospecting ritual? Like, is that something you do on a daily basis, once a week, twice a week, 3 times a week? How does that look?
Okay, I'll break that up into 2 parts. The first thing is the pre-prospecting routine, and then the prospecting routine. Pre-prospecting, I'm up at 5:30, 5:35 every single morning, even on the weekends. I journal right away. When I wake up and before I go to sleep, I journal. And I journal things in the present tense. Like right now, I'm journaling, I own a Lamborghini. I own 20 investment properties. I minimum take, 1 listing a week. And I'm journaling these things every day, and I see them all the time, because I have my journal in my office too, and I review it all the time, and I can flip back and see all these days that I'm journaling. And then you can track the journey from a year ago when I was journaling. All those things are crossed out because I achieved them, right?
Wow.
Another thing I do for about 5 or 10 minutes every day is, I think we've heard Tony Robbins call it incantations. It's not an affirmation. An incantation is an affirmation plus you put your body and your energy into it. So I'll walk around saying crazy shit like, I'm a millionaire. I'm a millionaire. I am a millionaire. And like I tell myself looking in the mirror, and I feel it. And after doing this for a minute or two, you feel like almost like a buzzing in your body, because your physiology is changing. And your subconscious mind, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't know the difference between reality and what you're telling it. What you're dreaming. Like a dream can be vivid because your mind at that time when you're sleeping believes it's real.
Yeah.
So like I'm telling myself these things, and then I see things manifest. I see myself like, this Friday we're going to take like a $1.8 million listing, and I'm like, okay, like yes, that's going to happen, because I knew it was going to happen. So I do that. I journal. I do my little incantations for 5 or 10 minutes, and then I usually go to the gym right after that. Okay, come back. I role play. I still role play 20, 30 minutes every morning before I get out there, whether I get on the phone that morning or I go door knocking. Now, I don't want people to think I just door knock. I get on the phone too, okay? Typically, the time schedule is 8 a.m. until noon is prospecting. Now, I may shift that up, phones and doors, but typically it's 2 hours on the phones and 2 hours on the doors, typically, right? 12 to 1, we take a break, we eat, we do follow-up calls for that hour. 1 to 2 is when we are doing preparations for appointments. 2 to 3, I'll do more role-playing or training for my team now that I have a team. And then from 3 to 6, it's either we're going on appointments or we're doing round 2 of prospecting every single day. So pretty much from 8 to 6, it's, we're prospecting, we're going on appointments, we're following up. It's very simple. Like the people at this point think I'm paying for advertising. I'm not. We still organically, calling and door knocking, create all of our business. The only money that I spend, guys, is on Vulcan 7, Mojo Dialer, and then I mail the 300 or 400 people that are in my sphere of influence, or people that I'm at door knocking, or my friends or past clients. I mail them a postcard once a month. That's it.
Awesome. Awesome. It's amazing, dude. You know, I love dude, that's the first time I've heard of that, believe it or not, is journaling what you want to see. And you know what I mean? Like that's so cool. Like you like, because your subconscious doesn't know the right from wrong. So like yeah, say what you want. Like, and I've been actually, you know what's really funny? It's so weird that we're on the call, because I've been doing stuff like this. Every morning I get up and listen to a motivational video. Like, you know, and like, you know, believe in yourself, think what you want to think, be who you want to be, that type of thing. And it's insane how your whole mind changes, your whole mind shift changes. Like, little things, like I kept telling myself, I went golfing the other day, I kept telling myself I can't hit a 5-iron, my 5-iron sucks.
Right.
And I literally said, I need to hit a 5-iron right here, and I am so good at hitting a 5-iron. And I pulled out my 5-iron out of the bag. Instead of saying I can't hit it, I said I can hit this thing and it's going to be awesome. And I freaking hit it. You know, it's just it's something so simple that it's crazy. So hey, I know we're running short on time. Brian, do you have any openings? I don't know if there's anybody on here that's even interested. Do you have any? Are you taking on coaching clients? I say, you know, you're doing coaching. I don't know if that's I don't know, too early, or that's down the road, or where are you at on something like that? If that's
I'm still in the process of formulating what I would want to do as far as one-on-one coaching.
Okay.
What I do have is, we have two things. One, I have a program that I call Close the Deal, which is entirely about teaching sales basics to advanced. Okay. That is a 1-hour webinar a week. Okay. And that's more than just real estate. That's even general. Like the stuff we're talking about, it teaches you sales, period. Body language, everything. That is, what do? I do that for $97 a month, and I think I have 25 people in that program right now. Okay. Everything's recorded, so if you missed the lecture because you can't make it at that time, it's put into a private group so everybody can watch it. Okay. And I also run the Real Estate Hustlers Mastermind. If you guys aren't a part of the Real Estate Hustlers page on Facebook, put in a request and message me. I'll add you. We run a mastermind. We have about 10 people in it. That one is a little bit pricier. That one, I think we have it at $497 a month, and it's 10 of us. Okay. We do 2 in-person masterminds a year, probably 3 starting this next year. We talk on the phone once a week. I mean, it's almost like coaching, but I tell people it's much more advanced, because we're not just going to hold you accountable. People in this group we have people that are 31, 32 years old that are financially free, that are selling 800, 100, 120 units a year. We're creating other businesses from it. The idea that I got from my products that I sell came from this mastermind. Like, this is some next level stuff. It's not just real estate, it's life.
So I need to jump into that one, it sounds like. That sounds pretty cool. I think you might have a new client there.
Seriously.
So how do we get the webinar series? How do we get that? What's the best way to get a hold of you to get involved if you want to get involved in this thing?
A lot of my videos have my email, briancasella25@gmail.com. Just like it's written there, BRYANCASELLA. You can also opt in through my website, which is briancasella.com. You can find me, Facebook. Look me up on Facebook. I have a business page and a personal page. I'm very accessible, guys. I would say if I get 15 emails a day, I answer pretty much all of them. It's very rare that I miss one. So you can find me. I'm very accessible.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So cool, dude. Dude, you're amazing. I'm kind of speechless. Yeah, man. I definitely want to talk to you about that club. That sounds really cool. And it's a small group. Intense. Sounds really intense. Sounds like a bunch of cool people. So I appreciate you bringing all this stuff. Your daily thing, but you didn't have to hesitate on that. So obviously that's your core, and that's what you do. And you're helping you're helping other people to do the same thing. And dude, you're just an awesome guy, man. It was a good day the day we met. So look forward to our relationship.
Yeah, it brought us together, man. I'm glad we could connect and kind of get in touch, and that's going to be cool, because I feel that, and maybe this is just me, but I feel like I don't really believe in coincidences. So it's not a coincidence in my mind that I bumped into Scott, or that I'm here today, or that I'm connecting with some of the people that I can connect with, because we're all, I would feel like for me and Scott to connect, we're kind of on the similar journey. And based on what he's saying he's doing and our short conversations, it sounds like we are. So it was inevitable for us to meet, Scott.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Dude, great stuff. Thanks for being a part of our live. I'm honored to be a part of your lives. And if you have any want or need from Brian, it's Brian, B-R-Y-A-N, Casella, C-A-S-E-L-L-A. Search him on YouTube, Facebook. His website is briancasella.com. Awesome dude. I'm going to be getting to know him a lot better and hanging out. And I want to be around successful people who think bigger and dream bigger. And that's just we get one life, man. So it's exciting to hang around bigger thinkers, So thank you so much for what you do, and I appreciate it, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me, Scott.
All right, guys. Same time, same place. Next week, next Tuesday, I will be coming to you live from Dallas, going all the way to Dallas. So I'll be coming to you live from down there. Got Vivica on with LinkedIn. She's awesome. So we'll see you same time, same place next right here on Agent Mastermind. Everybody have a great day. Take care. We'll see you on the web. Bye-bye.